Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of the Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys swinging by the channel and hanging out with me for a little bit on the video. Always very grateful for that. Guys, today we're going to be talking about fishing a flat-sided crankbait in the summertime of the year. This is something that doesn't get done a lot because most people, when you're talking about flat-sided crankbaits, they sort of have this preconception that it's sort of a cold water crankbait, like for pre-spawn, late winter, early spring. And once they get past that time of the year, the people don't fish them. But I got one situation that I catch a lot of fish on a flat bill, or excuse me, on a flat side crankbait in the summertime. We're gonna go over that, give you guys some tips and advice on how to take advantage of it. Also guys, just a quick reminder, you probably heard me talking about it. We got our Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns up and running again. If you guys have been with the channel, you know, we discontinued these a couple of years ago, started them back up again. And these are lake map breakdowns that I've built myself for fishthemoment.com. Got lakes all across the country, all 4 seasons of the year. It's a really good resource to learn more about your favorite lake or a lake you've never been on before. So I'll put the lake map breakdown in the link in the description if you want to check them out. Really appreciate that. Okay guys, like a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of things that go on in bass fishing that sort of like they remain popular because it's sort of the status quo. And one of those status quos is fishing a flat-sided crankbait in cold water. You hear about those homemade Tennessee flat-side crankbaits, different ones out there. You hear people catching a lot of fish on them when the water temperatures in the upper 40s and 50s during the pre-spawn. Then you don't hear much about them. But specifically, I want to talk today about the Megabass Sonic Side Flat Side in the matte shad pattern. And also guys, I'll put this in my Tackle Warehouse link, this specific bait, if you want to try one after you hear me talk about it. But this Megabass Sonic Side, it runs down probably about 4 feet deep on 10 to 12 pound test line. Perfect shad size, flat side crankbait, very subtle bait. It's got a, I consider it sort of a medium tight wobble. It's not super tight, but it's not super wide. It's got a nice little wobble on it. And there's one scenario, guys, that I catch a ton of fish on it in the summertime of the year, specifically on this matte shad pattern, and that is fishing stained water riprap. So if you've got a lake that has water visibility of say under, at the very most 2 foot, but ideally I like that water visibility to be around 10 to 15 inches, specifically right around 1 foot. If you've got 1 foot of visibility in the water, maybe a little bit less, and you've got riprap banks, this can be a killer technique to catch them on. Now, a lot of it just depends on the lake if you've got that type of water clarity mixed with it. And it doesn't really make any difference what type of riprap it is. It can be like the riprap that dock owners put between the docks. It can be a bridge riprap, causeway riprap, a dam riprap, any type of riprap. Preferably, I do like the bridge riprap because most of the time on a bridge riprap, you've got a causeway with a bridge over it that creates some current funneling down through there. And it seems like in the summertime of the year with that current moving through under that bridge, it just draws a little bit more bait fish and fish into those areas. But anyway, guys, I take the Sonic Side. I usually put it on 10 to 12 pound test, Seagarn Vesix line, medium action bait caster rod, and I parallel that riprap bank. I try to get in tight because I want to be knocking that bottom. And in order to knock the bottom on this Sonic Side, since it only runs down about 4 feet, you got to be pretty tight on it. So I'll just make medium length cast in parallel with a fairly fast stop and go retrieve. You want to burn it a little bit, not like super fast, but you know, you want to go above the medium retrieve. A medium fast stop and go retrieve is going to be the best scenario with it. Now, when you're fishing these riprap banks with the flat side, there's going to be key areas that are high percentage areas, and most of those high percentage areas are around any type of irregular feature, or they're around underneath the bridge, any place the riprap makes some type of a point or indentation. Any irregular feature is always going to be a high percentage area. But when you're fishing riprap, excuse me, one of the things to remember, guys, is they can be anywhere. It's like you can have a straight set of riprap that runs for 1/4 of a mile and is completely uniform, and you're apt to catch fish here and there off of it. Riprap fishing is all about commitment and timing because those fish live on a riprap. It's like the fish that you catch on a riprap, they live there. They may be up shallow on the rocks early and late in the day or at night feeding, then they may pull back off into 8 or 10 feet of water. If the wind hits that riprap at the right angle, they may move shallow during the daytime. There may be feeding windows during the time of day. But my experience on fishing riprap in the summertime with the flat side crankbait It's a matter of just making multiple passes. It's like I'll make a pass down a stretch. If I catch one, I turn the boat around, make another pass from a different angle, and just commit to that. Because those fish, when they're on ripraps, they're not really setting up on targets. So they're on rock and they're swimming around there. They're looking for crawdads, they're looking for perch, they're looking for minnows. And it's just being at the right place at the right time and putting that crankbait around one of those rocks where there's a bass hiding around. So all the success I've had in the summertime, it usually depends, again, just on making that commitment, making multiple passes. Weather doesn't seem to make that bit of a difference. Like I said, wind will help a little bit, but it's not really necessary. One of the things about wind is the dirtier the water, the less important the wind is. So if you've got some muddy riprap, like say if you guys fish Lake Dardanelle in Arkansas where the visibility is very poor down there, you may not need much wind. But if you have water visibility that's closer to that 1.5 or 2 foot, the wind really helps to break up that surface to generate those strikes. But ideally, if you gave me a perfect scenario for this, it would be riprap bank, water visibility of 8 to 10, maybe 12 inches. Just paralleling that bank with this Matt Shad, Megabass Sonic side, and it will catch them. And there's other colors that work, guys, too. Obviously, if it's really dirty out, you can get one here. Some type of a brighter chartreuse will work like this. And like I said, you can check the colors out in that Tackle Warehouse link I put in there. And they've got some other good colors here. Let me put another one out here. I got them all the time. But sometimes this clear one, like here, if the water's a little bit cleaner. I've caught them on the perch. Just really have to experiment, see what the bass want color-wise based upon the day that you're out there. But anyway, guys, give it a try. Flat side crankbaits on riprap, really good way to catch them. One other scenario that you can catch them on, but a lot of lakes don't have it. If you've got dirty water and if you've got flat rocks, like on those flat banks that have the rocks that are sort of like those landscaping rocks, if you can find that on your lake in the summertime in dirty water, they'll also bite that flat side in that situation also. So anyway, guys, hope it helps you catch a few, and we'll check in later.